Thank you. I'd like to thank TRDA and Chet and all the hard work he's doing, in particular Congressman Posey for all the work he's doing in this very incredible and important part of economic development. It's my pleasure to introduce Carol Craig. I don't see her. India. Do you see? Oh, there you, I'm sorry, I was looking that way. Good to see you. Hi. We met a few years ago. We had lunch, and she was telling me about her company, and I've been impressed. I'm going to read the bio in just a minute, but if I can give some personal comments. I've been impressed with a couple of things. Not only has her company grown pre-recession, but post-recession, and it's a real sign of an entrepreneur. But I think the thing that strikes so much, and you see it in her bio, but it doesn't really, in many ways it does a disservice to you, is when people are successful, they always talk about giving back, and Carol certainly gives back. So let me read a little bit about her so you get to know what kind of person you're hearing about if you don't know her already. Ms. Craig founded Craig Technologies, a Melbourne headquartered engineering technical service firm in 1999. As president and CEO, she has grown a team of over 225 experts nationwide and operates offices in Canton, Illinois, Huntsville, Alabama, Orlando, Florida, Washington, D.C., and Brevard County. She began her engineering career developing software systems for aircraft cockpits and went on to apply her skills as a U.S. Naval flight officer during active duty service. She holds advanced degrees in electrical computer engineering and is currently pursuing, this is interesting, a PhD in human-centered design. Is that like human factors? Is that what that is?
Pretty much. My professor's sitting right over there. You can ask her.
Oh, okay. Oh, I hear she's quite brilliant, this Carol. Okay. And wife, at FIT. Ms. Craig is the proud mother to Danny and Jillian, wife to Captain John Craig, United States Navy. She serves on numerous boards, community boards including Junior Achievement of the Space Coast, United Way of Brevard, and the Women's Business Center at Florida Tech. We need to add EDC on your bio here. She is also the founder of the Danny Craig Foundation that aims to raise and administer funds for multiple organizations that focus on researching children's medical disorders. My pleasure to introduce Carol Craig.
Thank you very much, Linda, and thank you to everyone here. This is an honor to be able to come here and speak. This is a great event. What Congressman Posey is doing for entrepreneurship is very, very important. I think all of us understand how important it is, but there's a lot of other people out there that don't. And we need to get the word out and hope that the rest of the country understands how important it is to our future. And I know Congressman Posey is really working very hard to make sure that happens. So again, I'm honored to be able to come up and speak. I've had a lot of coffee, so don't worry, we won't be here much longer, I promise. I'll try to control and speak slowly. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Carol Craig. I'm the CEO and president of Craig Technologies, and we are an engineering and technical services company, as Linda mentioned. We provide engineering and IT support services. Today, we provide primarily to government customers, started off as commercial, but those customers include Army, Navy, Joint Forces Command, Air Force, a variety of them, Department of Transportation, and we're kind of moving back a little bit more to the commercial side as well. I started in 1999, a one-man show out of my kitchen, one-woman show out of my kitchen, as an independent consultant. In 2005, I had 10 employees, and half of those were part-time. And today, we're running around 250 employees in 13 different states and over 40 contracts and a variety of different customers. So diversity is my friend, I'll tell you that. And that's one of the reasons I believe that, through this recession, we've been able to be successful because we've diversified not only in our core capabilities, but also our geographic locations, our customer base. And some might view that as a shotgun approach, but I viewed it as stability. And I'd like to say that it was because I was so brilliant, I planned ahead, and I know about business, but I think it was just pure paranoia, pretty much. So again, that's a little bit about my background. And, when I was asked to speak, I knew right away why I was asked to speak. It's pretty much because I'm the kind of individual that you look at me and you go, oh, if she can do it, I can do it. So hopefully that's motivation for those entrepreneurs out there. And so I've looked back and thought, well, how did I do this? I have no business classes or business background whatsoever. I must have some sort of business acumen. I'm looking at that now. But, I'm an engineer by trade, and that's what I know and that's what I love. I took a few, financial classes, accounting, which I barely passed. And I'd like to say it was because of the university class size and things like that, but I think it was the priorities of a 20-year-old that kind of distracted me. So that's my limit. That's where I fall in the whole business side of things. So I don't really have that background, but I think what I do have is passion. And I do have passion for what I'm presenting as services to my customers, and I have passion for my employees. And I think that's really, really important for all entrepreneurs out there, and I'm sure a lot of you who have the established companies, you have that passion. And one of the things I did when I started early was to define some core values. And I didn't even come up with that idea. It was my husband who said, hey, if you're really going to do this, which I think he was still skeptical whether I was really going to do it or not, if you're going to do this, you need some core values that you can take along with you the whole way that can remind you of why you really are doing this. And so our core values were family, integrity, loyalty, passion, and we've just added one more, which is community. So I really do believe that passion is what was so important and that kept me motivated. Now, there are some things that can kind of distract along the way, and I'll admit that, I do get kind of caught up in that. One of those is financial success, and I think it's really important that, as we go through this entrepreneurial journey, that we don't let the financial success be our primary motivator, and that's very difficult. And for me, it's very difficult because I have a son with a rare genetic disorder, and so every day I'm reminded of what happens if I'm not here. And how do I secure his future? And so for me, that's that financial motivator. But I can't let that get in the way of what I'm doing. I will say there's two things that I've talked to people and said I think you got to remember. Take ego and greed out of the equation, and you can pretty much do anything, and you'll be successful. And so the greed side of it is that greed that I'm worried about my son's future, not necessarily, but at the same time, I've got to make sure that I'm concentrating on my journey ahead and what I'm doing and not get distracted. And on the ego side of things, that isn't necessarily the Donald Trump ego. I mean, there is a reason that the guy's been bankrupt a couple times and now he's not running for president, but it's not that kind of ego. I think it's really more maybe it's the Cleopatra ego, and I'll tell you why I call it that. Today I was being visited by one of our teammates on a contract we're working on, and she was watching everybody interact with me in the office, and she looked at me and she goes, so where are your grapes and your fan? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, geez, she's from New York, so she said a few other choice words, but she said, geez, you're like Cleopatra. These guys are just all over helping, And it's only because they enjoy what we're doing, but at the same time, I have to remember, it's not all about me. Although I like to say, it's all about me, and remind my husband of that. It's really not. And he's not in the audience, obviously, I can say those things. But it really is, that's the ego side of it, I think, is remembering that it's not about me. It's not what I'm doing. It's my employees, and it's what we're doing as a company and where we're going, and it's our customers. For us, the mission is very near and dear because of Department of Defense, everyone here because of NASA, that kind of thing. So keeping that, in the front of our minds and remembering that that's why we're doing these things is really, really important. The employees, I think it ties to, we all think about businesses and we think our business plan is so important. You've got to have a business plan. But I think you also need to have some sort of culture that you've established. Because whether or not you're product-based or you're service-based or you're doing anything like that, you have employees. And the culture that you create in your company is very important to those employees. And I think there's another secret to success is if you can empower your employees to act like an owner and to have that same mission and that same feel that you do, you're going to be successful no matter what you do, whether it's services and they're working hand in hand with the customer or whether they're putting together a quality product. So again, I think the background of engineering is what's helped me be successful. Maybe the lack of business degree because I don't know what I don't do, and I can do that ostrich thing where I just put my head in the sand and say, it'll work out, it's fine. But I have surrounded myself, I've been blessed to surround myself with very talented and educated people who do know what they're doing and who are able to interact with myself easily and have that same kind of culture. So I do think that's very important. And today's landscape, as you all know, just is rich with opportunity. And it's not necessarily because of misfortunes of others. It's because people are starting to back off and they don't want to take risk. And there's so many great ideas out there that now is not the time to back off. Now is the time to really take advantage, and especially in Brevard County. I think this is an amazing entrepreneurial type of county. I couldn't believe it when I came here. I've been so impressed, and there's just a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of resources that we can reach out and grab, and I think it's more important than ever that happens. So it's a great organization. It's a great event today. The ability to go and find the resources financially. What I did, I actually did it organically. I had 8 credit cards that were maxed out. I had 3 or 4 mortgages on my house, life insurance, all those kinds of things. Scared to death I was going to get hit by a bus because I don't know what would have happened to my family. But at any rate, there are obviously other ways besides doing it organically, and that's why today I think now more than ever it's really important that even though you're risking a lot, it's worth it. And I think it's important to recognize it, accept it, and go for it. So thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to speak.